Straight Shift with the Car Chick, the podcast that's all about cars, buying, selling, fixing, and driving, and sometimes renting fast if you're the car chick. Now, here she is.
Welcome, everyone. Today on the Straight Shift, we are going to talk about road rage. Just about everyone has encountered road rage in some form or another. It's practically a staple of our automotive culture and everyday life in America. But it's a huge problem. It can range anywhere from mildly annoying, the guy who flips you off or blares their horn at you, to situations that are much more serious and cause injury and even death. For those people who have truly experienced road rage scenarios, it can be really terrifying. It is a big problem in American society, and today I want to talk about some of the statistics around road rage that may probably horrify you to find out, but to also talk about how can we avoid this? What are some things that we can change about our own behaviors, both in terms of driving and in the way we react to situations, that can make things better and reduce road rage. So today, I am going to give you the road rage test. And as I go through the questions, I will be honest with you and answer them for myself as well, because I am certainly not immune to those behaviors myself. And it's something that I truly and consciously work on every day, but it is something that I have to work on every day. So we're going to do the road rage test, and then I'm going to give you some great tips for how you can manage and help reduce road rage, both in yourself and the other drivers around you. Road rage is a leading cause of traffic accidents. We think about, what causes traffic accidents, and I really don't like using the word accidents because they're not accidents. They don't happen accidentally. They happen because people do the wrong thing. They're behaving badly. They're not driving well. They're not paying attention. But road rage can be linked as a leading and causing factor in a lot of these traffic, we'll call them crashes, incidents. Recent data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration revealed that 94% of all accidents are caused by driver error. No kidding, right? But of those accidents, a third of them can be linked to behaviors that are typically assigned to road rage. These are things like, illegal maneuvering, not using your turn signal, tailgating, not paying attention to what's going on around you, and therefore not seeing what other drivers are doing or misinterpreting what another driver is doing. And furthermore, some data gathered by SafeMotorist.com says that nearly 2/3 of traffic accidents can be linked to what's called aggressive driving. And more disturbingly, like 30% of those involve firearms. As if the car itself is not a big enough weapon, we have to bring firearms into it. So, road rage doesn't necessarily limit itself to what happens on the road and in the car. It can continue once the driver is out of the car. And that's when the situation starts to get very, very scary and very life-threatening. Many people that have been victims of road rage turn into aggressors themselves. If you think about it, that is Psychology 101. Violence begets more violence. The way we behave, the energy that we put out into the universe. And I know I'm getting a little woo-woo here and talking about the law of attraction, but what we put out is what we get back. So when someone behaves aggressively towards us, our hackles get up and we instinctively start to respond to that with more aggression from ourselves. It is instinctual behavior that you see everywhere in the animal kingdom, but as humans, we can manage to make it worse. So, people that have been a victim of road rage can turn into road ragers themselves, just like people who have been victims of child abuse can become abusers themselves. when you put it into that larger psychological context, it starts to make sense. And at least for me, makes me a lot more conscious and aware of my own behaviors and allows me to take a pause and say, okay, these are what my instincts are telling me. I want to react, but I need to take a moment, take a deep breath, and choose how I'm going to react to this situation and not let my baser instincts take over, which, is really easy for me to do. And for a lot of people, I would imagine. So, we don't want to give in to the temptation of seeking revenge, or intimidating other drivers that piss us off on the road, because it's only going to escalate the situation and make things worse and put everybody on the road with you at risk. And here's another funny statistic. According to a study done by Harris Interactive, they found that women were more prone to road rage than men. Now, granted, they did a survey and 61% of the women who responded say they experienced road rage versus only 56% of men. Now, is this true? Or did the men just not want to admit it because they don't think that their behaviors are associated with road rage? And that may be true simply because men tend to be more accustomed to more aggressive behavior in our society than women. So take it with a grain of salt, but I thought it was kind of funny. And as a woman, I am certainly not immune to the thought processes and behaviors that can lead to road rage myself. So without any further ado, let's take the road rage test together. There's 20 questions that we'll go through here. And if you are listening to this podcast at home and you want to take some notes, great. When I, make a statement or ask one of these questions, think to yourself, do I never do that? Do I sometimes do that? Or do I always do that? And just kind of keep track of it. If you're listening to this podcast while you're working out or you're driving, just think about it in your head. So let's get started. Number 1, do you tailgate other drivers to try and encourage them to speed up and go faster? Now, this is one that I definitely do not do. I hate tailgating because I have been rear-ended. It's not fun. I understand stopping distances and how important that is because I don't want to rear-end someone else either. And stopping distances can greatly vary depending on the size and weight of your vehicle, how good of brakes you have, what is the condition and quality of your tires, and what are the road conditions. So please never, ever, ever tailgate anyone. It accomplishes nothing except dramatically increasing the chance of wrecking your car and the person in front of you. And you will be found at fault by the police and your insurance company. So no tailgating. Number 2, do you flash your lights in order to signal other drivers to move right? I kind of have a problem with this question, but it leads to kind of a greater issue of Americans not being taught the same driver etiquette that the entire rest of the world learns. High beams have 2 functions, and there is a reason that when you pull back on the little lever, it flashes your high beams as opposed to when you push the little lever forward, the high beams stay on. In Europe and most other civilized countries, your high beams are actually called passing lights. And the entire purpose is to say, hey, flashy, flashy, I'm behind you and I would like to pass and you're in the left lane, so please move over. In other areas of the world, this is not considered rude and does not lead to road rage. It's a problem we have in America of not being taught proper driving skills and etiquette. So, if you're like me and I do use my brights to flash somebody, I do not mean it aggressively. I'm not angry. I'm just going, hey, I'm back here just to let you know, would you mind please moving over because I'm driving a little bit faster than you? And then I usually wave to them and say thank you so that to try and communicate that I'm not being a jerk about it. So if you're in the left lane and somebody comes up behind you, first of all, you should be paying attention and checking your mirrors frequently to know what's going on around you. And if you are driving in the left lane and there are cars behind you coming up that want to move faster, the law says you should move your butt over. There's no entitlement to driving in the left lane. The law in almost every state except Wisconsin, and I believe they've changed that since I grew up there, is that passing is only legal on the left, and drivers must yield to faster drivers by moving their butts over into the middle or the right lanes. So someone flashes their lights at you, don't get angry with them. Just realize, oh, he wants to go faster than me. That's his decision. And if they're going really fast, then karma may catch up to them, and, a speed trap and a cop will get them later. But it's actually more dangerous for you to stay there and block them than it is for you to just take the opportunity to move over. But hopefully you've actually been watching your mirrors and paying attention, and it doesn't ever come to that because you anticipate, ooh, I need to move over because there are faster cars behind me. So again, this is one that I don't think should lead to road rage. This is just Americans being too entitled with the left lane and not paying attention to their driving and doing what legally they are supposed to do. So I'll jump off that soapbox now. Number 3, do you use obscene gestures with other drivers? I don't do this because there's absolutely no point. All it does is make everybody else angry. It doesn't solve any problems. It doesn't change their behaviors. They don't say, oh no, they flipped me the bird. I must be terrible. I'm going to change my driving behaviors and be nicer. No, it doesn't work that way. So if you do this, stop. It's not worth it. It accomplishes nothing, and it only contributes to more road rage. Number 4, and if you have known me for more than 5 minutes, you will know this is one of my biggest driving pet peeves. Do you use your turn signals to change lanes? If the answer to that question is no, then you need to go to my website, go to my blog, or go to my YouTube channel at carchick-tv.com and watch my episode of Shut Up and Drive about not using your turn signals. The turn signal comes free with the car. Its whole purpose is to communicate to other drivers what you intend to do so that they can avoid an accident with you. So if you do not use your turn signals when you are changing lanes or turning, that is going to piss off other drivers, namely me, and you will get called out on an episode of Shut Up and Drive. So please be aware that, not following the rules of the road, because again, legally, you must use your turn signals when you intend to change lanes. That's going to lead to more road rage of the people around you. So please get in the habit of using your turn signals properly. Number 5. Do you use your horn to indicate your irritation with other drivers? Now, here's another one that I have some mixed feelings about because, again, this is kind of an American cultural thing. We tend to use our horns very aggressively. I mean, has anyone ever driven in New York? Oh my gosh. We blare the horn, we slam on the horn, we go, wah, when we're really mad at somebody. The rest of the world does not do this. They use the horn as a polite communicative tool. They go, beep, beep, hey, go ahead and merge in front of me. I don't mind, I'm giving you the space. Oh, beep, beep, thanks for letting me in. It's a polite thing to get the attention of another driver. So blaring on the horn in America doesn't do you a bit of good. And I have been really guilty of this. I actually am more likely to hit the horn before I hit my brakes. That's how fast my reaction time to the horn button is on my car. And it doesn't help that I've got 2 buttons and they're right underneath my thumbs on the steering wheel. So they're really easy to get to. But I will usually only hit my horn, not to communicate any aggression or irritation, but if a driver is like moving over without looking and is about to hit me, I will blare on my horn to get their attention so that hopefully they will stop and not run into me. If that pisses them off, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep from getting hit. So, be aware about how you use your horn. And if you are using it simply to communicate your irritation with another driver, it may not be doing you any good. For those of you who live in New York, just keep doing what you've been doing. It's part of the culture up there. But for the rest of us, especially in the South, it tends to lead to a lot of road rage because it makes people really, really mad. All right. The next one. I frequently change lanes to the left and right to get past slower traffic. Okay, so this is one that I am totally guilty of. However, I've always seen people that, kind of weave in and out of traffic. And unfortunately, most people who do this, or I'll just say a lot of people that do this, they are doing it very aggressively. And they're not being smart about it. They are cutting way too close to the other drivers. It's often in a situation, where in traffic, they're not really getting ahead because they're not looking, more than two cars in front of them or even more than one car in front of them. They'll dart into this lane and then that lane will get back up and they'll try and dart into the next one. Those people really need, and if you're one of them, to start anticipating your driving more. You need to look way far down the road and look at where are the openings in traffic? How is the overall flow of traffic going in this quarter of a mile segment that I can see down? And, plan your lane changes. I maneuver through traffic. There is no doubt about it. I drive a Mini, so she's naturally zippy, and it's just kind of what we do. And being a race car driver, that's actually called racecraft, and it's one of the things that I am really good at on the racetrack, and I apply those skills probably a little more than I should on I-77, but I always make sure that I use my turn signal when I am doing it, and I don't do it unnecessarily. I really look at the flow of traffic and say, okay, yeah, the right lane may be moving a hair faster right now, but it's slowing down up there, so I'm not going to gain anything by changing lanes, so I'm not going to do it. I'm only going to do it when I can genuinely maneuver through traffic smoothly and safely without cutting anyone off and without being a complete jerk about it. I have to be a lot more aware of those behaviors because, my car, Maggie, is wrapped with my Car Chick logos on every side. My phone number is splayed on 3 sides of my car. So, if I act like a jerk, it reflects badly on my brand. So, if my husband is driving my car and he starts doing that, I yell at him, stickers, stickers. So, because he drives way more aggressively than I do because he's not used to having stickers on his car. So just be aware it's okay to maneuver through traffic. And as a race car driver, I've learned defensive driving skills, but our philosophy is that the best defense is a good offense. But I do it in the right way. At least I try to. Certainly not perfect, but I also have the skills to do it. And I'm anticipating, and I'm not doing it unnecessarily, and I'm trying my hardest not to be a jerk about it. So if you see a little, pink Mini Cooper zipping through traffic, please don't be mad at me. It's just Maggie. So now the next question, number 7, if someone cuts me off, I will try to return the favor. No, don't do that. That, again, is just, it doesn't accomplish anything except escalate the situation. And no offense, guys, but it tends to be guys who do this more, and I've seen it. I've been in a car with a guy who has done it, and believe me, I ripped him a new one because it does escalate. And in this day and age, you really never know who's carrying around a gun in their car who might just roll down their window and decide to shoot you. So, or they might actually ram into your car. You never know just how a situation is going to escalate and go from irritation to violence. And it can very, very quickly. And your vehicle is a multi-thousand-pound weapon. Don't ever forget that. So please don't escalate. If somebody cuts you off, so be it. Thank goodness, cars these days, they're putting more and more of those safety aids in it. So, if you don't catch the brakes in time, hopefully you have a car that has the collision mitigation system, and it will. It's why they're putting these systems in cars. But don't escalate the situation. Number 8, do you normally drive the speed of traffic as long as it is moving along sufficiently? And that actually is what the law states. Here's where I'm going to stop and encourage you. If you have not refreshed your memory on what the traffic laws are in your state, since you got your driver's license, 30 years ago, I would recommend doing that. Get the driver's handbook. They're all available online through your DMV, because we forget about these things. And police will tell you, and my brother's a cop, so I know several wonderful police officers, and they will tell you that it is safer and they are less likely to give you a speeding ticket if you are flowing along with the flow of traffic and traffic is flowing safely, as long as, traffic's not doing 100 miles an hour. There's a limit to it. But if you are driving appreciably slower than the traffic around you, please just do so in the right-hand lane and make sure you're at least going the minimum speed limit required on that road. It's usually 10 miles below the posted speed limit. They give you that 10-mile-an-hour range, but definitely be in the right lane. If you are driving way slower than the rest of traffic, you are actually increasing the chances of there being a crash, and you're pissing people off. So get in the right lane where you belong and go whatever speed you're comfortable. I have no problem with that. Just do it in the correct lane, obey the traffic laws, because driving with the flow of traffic is safer than having variable speeds, way too slow, way too fast on the freeway at the same time. Number 9. Do you react quickly when the light turns green? Now, you don't have to do what I do, which is, sit there on the clutch and the gas, and as soon as the light turns green, it's like the Christmas tree going off at the drag strip, dude, watch this launch. I occasionally do that, just to practice my reaction times. But if you sit there at the green light because you're looking down at your phone responding to a text message, you're going to piss off people behind you. So again, don't be looking at your phone, even, if you're at a traffic light, or if you do, be looking up very, very frequently to make sure that you are reacting to the traffic light in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, number 10. I don't think we're going to get through all 20 of these, but you're getting the drift. Do you use your cell phone while driving? I'm not even going to get on that soapbox. I've been on it so many times. That's a bad thing to do and will lead to road rage because you piss people off when you're not paying attention. Are you a polite and courteous driver? We have such a sense of entitlement out on the road. And believe me, I am terrible about this because as a race car driver, I have had extensive training and experience and have, car control skills at a professional level that I recognize, 99% of the rest of the world doesn't have. So, for me, I've made a conscious decision to be a polite and courteous driver as much as possible. And when people are trying to merge onto the freeway, I move over and try and open up a space in the right lane so that they can merge. If it's rush hour traffic and, everything's at stop and go because so many people are trying to merge at the same time, let somebody in front of you. If everyone would just let one person in front of them, it will flow. There's just nothing to be done about it. It is what it is. You're so much better off and safer being courteous and polite than, reaching your target destination 1/10 of a second sooner than you would have otherwise. I've talked about, staying right except to pass. I'll admit I drive in the left lane, but I'm always passing somebody, and I will move over if I see faster drivers coming up behind me. Do you get into confrontations with other drivers? That's when the road rage gets really, really dangerous. So don't escalate. Do not confront another driver because you never know. If you follow them off the ramp and into the parking lot and try and confront them about their behavior, you do not know if that person is armed or not. That is just the reality of America today, and it's just not worth it. The only time I will confront another driver is if, they have a bunch of brake lights out and they probably don't know it. I'll make them aware, hey, there's something wrong with your car that is dangerous. You might want to, do something about it. Okay. Do you feel that all other drivers are complete idiots? Okay, yes, that is true for me. I have really had to kind of reframe my brain because I have to recognize that driving education in America, it sucks. It's absolutely terrible, and they don't teach you how to drive. So people, they haven't learned, most of them have not learned proper driving skills. That's one of the great things about, doing high performance driving and getting into even something as, simple as autocross and those, more amateur forms of racing, is that you learn better driving skills. And I have to recognize that 95% of the people on the road do not have the same driving skills. And because I have the superior skills, and I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging about that, but any of you that do race, you get it. We do have superior car control skills, and it is our responsibility as the more skilled driver to kind of look out for everybody else on the road, because you can't really blame someone if they don't know, if they've never been taught. And most people never have, because driving education in America generally sucks. So, yes, they're all complete idiots, but I've just lowered my expectations accordingly. And so I expect other drivers to do the wrong and unsafe thing. And I anticipate that and just keep myself away from them and do what I can as a driver to make the road around me safer and make it easier for them to do whatever it is they're trying to do, because they probably just don't have the skill to do it. So just make it easier for them. And do you feel angry when another motorist does something stupid? Well, yeah, of course, we always do. Again, lowering my expectations, nothing surprises me anymore. So actually lowering my expectations has really lowered my stress level. So I don't get mad because it doesn't surprise me. And I've anticipated that they're going to do the dumb thing, the unsafe thing, the annoying thing. So you know what? It is what it is. I don't anticipate that drivers are going to get any better on the roads, especially with all the driver safety aids that they're putting into cars so that the car does what the driver's supposed to do, like actually stop in time and, not wander across their lanes, etc. So again, my expectations are low. They're getting lower every year, but it actually causes less stress for me. So, do you avoid driving in other people's blind spots? Yeah, that contributes to road rage. My philosophy is I don't like driving in somebody else's blind spot. First of all, you should never have a blind spot. howtosetyourmirrors.com will teach you how not to. But, it just increases the chances of someone not seeing you and trying to change into your lane, and that will piss you off and contribute to your feelings of road rage. So just don't drive in other people's blind spots. Really be staggered. Make sure that other people around you can easily see you, especially if you drive a smaller car like I do. Do slow drivers bother you, or do you just go around them? They're slow. Go around them. Yes, they should be moving over into the right lane. Do what is safe. Don't tailgate them. Don't blare your horn at them. It won't do you any good. Just anticipate the flow of traffic and go around. And, if you think that other drivers that pass you are just automatically going way too fast, in many cases that may be true. In which case, just be aware of your surroundings. Let them go by you. And if they're going that fast, you're not going to see them again. And a karma will eventually catch up to them, as the few speeding tickets on my driving record will tell you. So there's the road rage test in a nutshell. I know we didn't take a break today like we normally do in the podcast because I thought it was really important to just kind of stay on a roll with this stuff. So let me give you, in the fewer minutes we have remaining, some concrete tips for handling road rage. These will help you and your road rage emotional level, and that will also help reduce road rage in the drivers around you. Number one, plan ahead when you're driving, when you're trying to get somewhere. Most of our aggressive road ragey type behaviors are the result of stress because we've got to be somewhere by a certain time, and we're freaking out because we're going to be late. This happens to me a lot. I am usually late to everything, and I have worked really hard to change that. Nowadays that we have, access to Google and all these real-time traffic technologies, it's real easy to say, okay, how long is it probably going to take me? Is there, something going on? Is there construction? Plan your routes and your schedules better and leave yourself enough time. Because if you have enough time, you're like, oh, crap, that happened, or, oh, there's construction, or, there's something going on the freeway. It's going to take me 10 minutes longer to get to where I'm going. That sucks, but it's not the end of the world. And you know what? Even if you are going to be late, take the time, pull over to a safe place, call the person that you're supposed to meet and say, I am really sorry, but there is a cluster going on the road right now. I have been sitting here stuck in traffic for the last 10 minutes. I will get there when I get there. I need to focus on driving safely, and I apologize for the delay. You know what? Most people understand that. So plan ahead. Road rage is just an expression of our overall stress level in life. So if you can reduce the stress in your life in general through better planning, through maybe some good meditation, whatever you need to do to just reduce your overall stress level in life, that will help to reduce road rage. I have said this before, give your driving your full attention. Inattentive driving is what causes 94% of traffic accidents, and therefore pisses people off and leads to road rage and escalated incidents and even violence. So if you are giving your driving your full attention, you will be able to anticipate, you will be a better driver yourself, and you'll avoid getting yourself into situations that lead to road rage. And a part of that is learning, or in many of our cases, relearning the rules of the road. Most people have not looked at a driver's manual since they took their learner's permit test when they were 15 and a half years old. So going back and refreshing your memory on truly what are the rules of the road, because so many of the things that piss off drivers are actually people doing the right thing. So many people get angry that, drivers that are in a lane that's ending and have to merge over, are waiting until the last minute to merge over. Guess what? That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, it's great if you can find an opening sooner and scoot over, but the drivers that are waiting until the lane actually merges to merge over, they're doing the right thing. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, the idiot that goes past that and drives onto the shoulder, is a jerk. And, if you're already in the regular flow lane, if you cut into the merge lane to try and sneak around everybody and cut back over, yeah, that's kind of a douchey move. Don't do that. But be aware, drivers are supposed to merge at the merge point and just let one person in. That's all you're obligated to do, but don't block people. They're doing what they're supposed to do 90% of the time. So learn the rules of the road and what people are supposed to do, the way the roads are designed to flow, what is legal, what is not legal, and that can really reduce your stress level, and it'll make you a better driver yourself. Another thing you can do is you can do some what I call car yoga, some relaxation exercises in the car. I will do this when I am driving on the freeway and I am stressed and stopping at traffic, and maybe I've been on the road for an hour and I'm sore. These are things that we actually do in the race car, because I do endurance racing. And so I am strapped into a race car for, 3.5 hours sometimes. And let me tell you, that gets kind of stressful. So, just keep your hands on the wheel in the 9 and 3 position where they're supposed to be, and just do some shoulder shrugs. Kind of stretch, your head from side to side, trying to put your ear to your shoulders. Just do these little exercises. Take one hand off the wheel at a time, only one, and stretch out, flex your hand, stretch out the muscles in your hand, release some of that tension. Do some deep breathing exercises. Inhale slowly for 6 counts, hold for 6 counts, exhale slowly for 6 counts, hold for 3. It's called 6-3-6-3. Those breathing exercises put your body into a more relaxed and healing state, and it makes a huge difference in your stress level, even when you're driving. And use restaurant etiquette. That's what my mother always called it. Behave as if you were actually face to face with the other driver in a nice public place like, a high-end restaurant, and use your dang manners. Think of it that way. And one of the reasons we get so aggressive is because we feel like we're safe in the little bubble of our car. The way we behave when we're distanced from someone who's making us mad versus the way we behave when we are actually face to face and in public should make you behave better. Granted, it doesn't always, but think about using your manners when you are on the road. And finally, realize that you cannot control the other drivers around you. You can't control what other people do at any point in life. The only things you can control are what you do as a driver and making sure you're driving safely, courteously, and legally. And you can control how you react to everything that's going on around you. And I'll tell you, before I launched this podcast, I hosted a nationally syndicated radio show called America's Garage for 8 years. And I had a 2-minute segment on that show called the Car Chick's Peeve of the Week. And I got 2 minutes to bitch about, whatever, usually something that I had seen on the road that had pissed me off, that week or on that drive into the radio station. And I found that kind of gave me an outlet for the things that pissed me off on the road. And when that radio show ended, I took that concept and I launched a web series that is on my YouTube channel. It's called Shut Up and Drive. I have forward and rear facing high definition dash cameras in my car. I call it the Maggie Cam. So when I do see a driver doing something unsafe, incorrect, downright stupid, they get caught on the Maggie Cam. And then I have a camera that faces me in the car that I can just hit the record button and I will do a little running commentary about it and talk about why that behavior is unsafe and what you should do instead. And that's given me a great outlet. So now when somebody pisses me off, I don't get angry. I get excited. Hey, we got a new episode of Shut Up and Drive. And there's, going to be an endless source of that. I think I'm up to episode 25 right now. So obviously that's something everybody can do, but you might want to just have a running commentary, like pretend you're a sportscaster and you are sportscasting the play-by-play of what's going on the road around you and just talk about it very objectively as an observer, like a newscaster or a sportscaster. And that might actually help you kind of vocalize some of your frustrations without getting all angry and ragey. It's a little more matter of fact, and in my case, really, really snarky. Honestly, I found that to be extremely therapeutic, and I just laugh. I'm like, oh, wow, look at what that dumbass did. That wasn't safe for this reason, and I just kind of laugh it off. And that's made all the difference in the world. So I hope that some of these questions have made you more aware of your own driving behaviors, and I would encourage you and even challenge you to take a week and examine your own driving behaviors. And are you guilty of any of these things, and what can you do to change that, to reduce your stress level and to make yourself a safer driver on the road and not contribute to the escalating problem of road rage. Road rage kills and injures thousands and thousands of people every year on the road. We need to do something to break the cycle of anger and violence in our society, and it's in a lot of areas, but this is one that you actually have some control over. So folks, be safe, be courteous, and don't be road ragey. I'm out of here.
The Straight Shift Podcast is copyright Leanne Shattuck, The Car Chick, 2017. All views expressed by guest and or co-hosts are those of the guest and or co-hosts, and not necessarily those of Leanne Shattuck or The Car Chick.